Pyro. Level 4 upgrade. Hey guys, Tristan here, and for this upgrade we are doing another Proline performance transmission. This transmission was donated to me by Coyote0976. Thanks a lot, man, for this. As you guys know, he did donate to me the first one that I put in Monster from his very first donation, and he gave this one to me in the second one. So I'm going to be installing this into Pyro. Now, this Proline transmission can be used with any of these RCs, such as the Pro 2 Buggy / 2-wheel drive, Electric Stampede 2-wheel drive, Rustler, and Bandit. Now, the reason why I'm not installing this into the Bandit we have is because it is specifically designed to upgrade the performance in a 2-wheel drive, Stampede, and Slash. Now, if I had another one, I would still put it into the Bandit. But since it does increase the performance of the RCs, I think the Slash kinda needs the performance boost over the Bandit. So I'm going to be putting this in this one. If I ever get my hands on a third one, which I'll probably, if I ever do, I'm probably not, but if I ever do, I'll probably be putting that one in the Bandit as well. Guys, I recommend this transmission for any 2-wheel drive RC. It increases the performance immensely. It's crazy. Alright, so to start it off, I'm going to be removing the rear suspension from the chassis. Now I'm going to be doing it by removing the 2 screws that are down here, as well as the 2 screws that go into the rear skid plate. Alright, with those 4 screws removed, the rear comes right on off the chassis. Now we can set the front off to the side. Remember, you're going to have to remove the ESC wires, or unplug the ESC wires that plug into the motor. So now, next up we can move on to removing the rear bumper mount so that we can remove the shock tower out of place. The bumper mount is held on with 4 screws. 2 on top and 2 on bottom. Alright, with the rear body mount removed, we can now remove the rear shock tower. And it is held on with 2 screws to the transmission box. They are located here and here. With the 2 screws removed, the rear shock tower is free. Now all we have to do is remove these 2 pins, and then we can get the rest of the suspension off. Alright, with those 2 pins removed, we can now take off the suspension. And it's just done easily just by pulling it off and getting the drive shafts undone. Now next what we have to do is to remove the rear bumper and bumper mount. Now all we have to do is remove 3 screws. 1 down here, 1 here, and 1 right here. Alright, with the 3 screws removed, the rear bumper comes right on off. Now next what we have to do is to remove the motor from the transmission, and that's done by unscrewing these 2 screws. Alright, with those 2 screws removed, the motor comes right on off. Set it off to the side. Now what we need to do is remove the rear skid plate, and that is held on with 6 screws. 4 in front and these 2 small ones in back. 6 screws removed, the skid plate comes right on off. Now that's all that's left to do is to unscrew this 1 grab screw that holds on the drive shafts. Alright, with the drive shafts removed, now we can put this off into storage. I'm probably going to be using this transmission or the other one I got from Monster, and I'll be using that in a Rustler build I'm thinking about doing. Basically, it's going to be a Traxxas Rustler green RC, which I'm thinking about building to go against Demon. I got the idea after watching RC Guys 100's Vincent's To Be King video when he officially challenged Jason to a trial of speed with his Rustler versus Demon. So that gave me an idea of that. So I'm going to set this off to the side and use this if that's the case. Now, let's open the package for the Proline transmission. Alright, first off, we're going to just slide this out of the way after removing the staple. And we have the hardware, which we'll be using, the differential oil for when you rebuild it, as well as the transmission itself. As you guys can see, it's identical to the one that we had recently put into Monster. Now, the only thing I'm going to be doing differently with this one is putting it on a non-LCG. So it's going to be pretty much the same thing, but just a little bit of twist. Like I've said in the last one, I do want to see if I can't dye this gear cover, because this one would probably be a red dye if I can't get the stock gear cover to fit on there. Honestly, I think that's kind of cool, a transparent red as well on here, as that one being a transparent green. But we'll all see in the future what it'll hold. RIT has recently changed their recipe, so I don't know if dyeing this would be all that too easy. So, alright, let's get this installed. Alright, to start off, we're going to be installing this little piece inside the rear skid plate. First, we have to find out where on it says front, like it says right there. And we're going to be installing it onto this. So we got to orient it to where it's facing front that way. We got to place it down and then screw in these two screws. With this installed, now we can put that off to the side and we can work back on the transmission. Now, first I'm going to be installing the motor. Just put in there and put in two screws and the washer that they supplied with us. Alright, with the motor installed, we can now take the gear cover and put it on. Gear cover is held on with two screws, one down here and one up here. When we go in to screw it together, we are going to need to have this piece lined up just like that. Next up, I'll be installing the drive shafts, and we just slide in position and they are held on with one grub screw. Alright, with the drive shafts installed, next up we are going to be installing the rear bumper. Now, in the first one, the rear bumper mount had the pegs that go off that slide into the rear skid plate. But these ones that are in here are broken and they don't touch the skid plate at all, so I'm just going to put it in before I put the skid plate on. So what we're going to do is slide it in position. We're going to screw down from... You'll be using the longest screw to go through the bottom and cap it off at the end like that. And then we're going to be using the smaller two of the same size, and we're going to be putting them in both holes on this side. But on the one that goes on this side, I will also be including a little spacer that they also include to make it right. Alright, with the rear bumper installed, now we're going to set this whole section to the side, and I'm going to be working on this bit. To make it a lot easier, I am going to grab the suspension. I'm going to be reattaching the A-arms to this little section. Alright, with the rear suspension now installed, we can now take these two halves and put them together. First, I'm going to be installing the drive shafts into them, and then I'm going to be attaching it all with 6 screws on the bottom. Alright, now with the transmission now installed into the rear skid plate, next we have to push down the shock tower and then screw in the 2 screws at the bottom. Now that the rear shock tower is installed, we can now put on the rear body mount, and it's held on with 4 screws, 2 on this side and 2 on this side. Alright, with the rear body mount installed, all that's left to do is take the chassis move the wires out of the way, come down and put it up. Now we can screw down the 4 screws, 2 up top and then 2 on bottom. All that's left to do is to feed the 2 wires from the ESC through the shock tower and then plug them in to the motor. Black to black. Come on, there. Black to black, red to red. And there we go, have it. Here is before. And here is after, guys. Check it out. Now, I've been running a lot of my monsters since I've gotten this upgrade on him, and I can tell you, this transmission is gonna be beautiful. It's gonna perform so well in this freaking RC. It's crazy to think that how much this transmission just boosts the performance. Like I said before, I would recommend this transmission for any 2-wheel drive RC, but I'm gonna say it's got to be a must for a Slash 2-wheel drive or a Stampede. It's just that freaking good. I mean, I can keep up with the Bandit with a 31 pinion in there with this transmission just in Monster with the added weight of the spare tire rack and everything, and it's only a brushed. So, I mean, it's amazing. All I need left to start running this RC is just a body, really. I have everything else. I mean, of course, there's a few things here and there I still need to get. The one thing is this, which I already have covered. I just need to get the front Proline power strokes from Coyote. And then I can put a retainer on there from when I upgrade one of the RCs to the Proline Power Strokes. But, yeah. Thanks a lot, Coyote, for this amazing upgrade. That was Pyro's Level 4 upgrade.